Hi, thanks for joining me. It can be very, very hard to be vulnerable. And I get to see the vulnerability of a lot of people because when they buy a reading off me, when people are expressing feelings to me, if they get spiritual therapy, they are sharing their vulnerability because I'm not going to judge them. And the hardest thing to do is to talk to family or people that are close to you and fear being judged. Let's say you have a certain perception of yourself, right? You create a perception of yourself. And if you believe you are somebody who's very efficient, gets things done, you're a go-getter, um, you're a great leader, you can manage a really good business. So you start a business, right? And you start running a business. And over time, that business starts to falter, or you're getting behind on your bills, or it's not generating the money, the economy's going bad. You can start to feel so much pressure, but you can't show your vulnerability and ask for help and tell everyone around you that things aren't working for fear that they're going to judge you. Because especially if you are somebody that judges other people, you will fear other people judging you. So then it becomes like a pressure cooker, like you're getting more and more pressure inside. You're trying to keep everything, hold everything up. You can't tell anybody around you that things are going bad behind the scenes, because then you face a fear of that judgment, that they may feel you're a failure. You didn't make things work, you know, or you're not good enough. All those horrible feelings start going around and around. And then it just becomes too hard to be vulnerable. Even in family, like even somebody, if they're mainly the one who's bringing in the income, and they feel so much pressure on themselves, and they are starting to feel something inside, like they don't feel like themselves anymore. They feel overwhelmed. They're not even enjoying life. They're just doing it on autopilot. It's that same fear again, that if I'm vulnerable and I start telling people, I know myself, I gave years and years ago, I gave off a perception of being able to do absolutely everything. As I've mentioned before, I had 5 children I was looking after. I was running a business with my then husband. I was also doing psychic work. I had a farm that we were running. So, there was 5 acres of lawn to mow, and I did it all. I did it all, and I socialized, and in the outside world, it looked like I was coping really, really well. On the inside, I was collapsing. You can't be everything to everybody. You just can't. But there was this fear that if I couldn't do it, and then I told people around me that I couldn't do it anymore, they would say to me, "But you chose that. You chose that. So you have to do it. It's like you made your bed, you lay in it." And I have had an older lady say to me once, instead of being empathetic to my situation, when I did discuss a problem I had, she just came back with, "Well, you made your bed, you lay in it," which would have been the way she was brought up. A hard, like back in the day, they just didn't talk about feelings. It was hard. So that's why it's programmed into us, kind of thing, that if we are vulnerable and we're going to say something that we need help, we're fear of judgment. Even people that suffer with irritable bowel syndrome, you have no idea when your bowel system is going to let go. You're out in public, it's debilitating, and there's a lot of diseases like that. Even I think with POTS, I think people just faint. There's so many things, and so to be vulnerable and actually go out in public still with the fear that, I used to have a fear that I would faint. I had a horrible fear that if I was in a supermarket, I would faint, and they would have to call an ambulance, or other people would see me faint and they would have the trauma. Like I had I was carrying that thought that they were going to have trauma by seeing me faint. So then it became a fear of mine that I didn't want to faint. See, and so when you talk about it, you bring out the vulnerability and say, well, this is a fear that I have. And I don't care if people laugh now. Like I would used to, and I know it comes with age. As you get older, you don't care as much what people think. When you're younger, you do. But when you start talking about your vulnerability and you talk about the fears that you have, and you have people around you that don't laugh at you, and even if they do, like I don't care now if someone laughs at my vulnerability. If I say, oh, I'm really scared to do something and I don't want to go somewhere and they laugh at me, it doesn't bother me anymore because they just don't understand because they don't have it. Like I used to hate standing on balconies, absolute fear of standing on balconies. My family would laugh at me. You know, my ex-husband, he'd laugh at me. So what? That's just my fear. And I'm okay. The minute you get over that, I don't care what you're thinking. This is my vulnerability. It really, really helps heal. It really heals stuff in you because you'll talk about anything. You don't have to hide it all and, like be scared and overwhelm yourself and like feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders. Just just let yourself be vulnerable. And if you have other people and you're vulnerable to them and they judge you, like I don't want those kind of people in my life. If you're a judgmental person and I don't care if you don't understand what I'm feeling. I don't care if you don't understand it. All you have to do is listen and respect it. If you can't even do that, then you don't belong in my life. You go and judge other people. I don't want you in my life. And I don't need other people to fix. If I'm being vulnerable about a situation, I also don't need them to fix it. It's just about listening and understanding that it's too much. Um, if someone comes to you and says, I can't run this business anymore, it's going broke, um, I don't know what to do, how are you going to react to that? Are you going to laugh at them, or are you going to be more concerned if it's your boss saying that to you, that your job's on the line? And you're worrying about yourself and you don't really care what they're going through? Are you going to be supportive of them? Are you going to try to understand? Are you going to try to help with solutions? Like, you also have to be responsible around people that are being vulnerable to you. When they open their heart and they really tell you that, even if it's a husband that's, he's got wife and kids at home and he's trying so hard to make enough money to pay the bills and it's becoming hard and he keeps pushing for more work, or he's scared he's going to lose his job. When they come to you and they open up themselves and they're vulnerable, are you going to react in a way of feeling empathy for what they're going through and then trying to work with them? Or are you going to make it about yourself and what am I getting out of this, Because that's entirely up to you. But over the years, I have learned that being vulnerable and speaking up and saying what my fears are and what I'm struggling with has been so healing, like so healing for me. It's so much better than holding it all inside, because that just makes you sick and you're just full of worry and you're full of, anxious feelings. So there we go. That's my little talk today on just be vulnerable. Learn to be vulnerable because it's going to be so healing for you.